get along with him. One of the things that the freshman class, you know, when I beat Lon, I beat one of the very few white Democrats that there was still in the House. Last session we had 55 Democrats, and of the 55 Democrats in the House, we had 4 Anglo Democrats. 4 out of 55. 4. When my district was ruled a racial gerrymander by the U.S. Supreme Court, it was because Lon and Charlie, for sake of protecting 90, they kind of cut the outside of the district. They actually split 11 precincts in order to make the numbers work right. District 90 is a minority opportunity district. It has to remain at least 50% of one minority, in this case, the Latino minority. I was ready to just say, okay, let's just open it up. I'll take Meadowbrook. I'll do whatever we have to do in redistricting. We'll open it up. We shouldn't have, we shouldn't have gotten fooled by, yes, we'll take black districts and brown districts because black and brown people are Democrats and that'll just increase it for us. Well, they split it so much that that's how we ended up with a 2/3, 1/3 body, Democrat and Republican. So the argument between me and the minority members is, do we need to give up more? Do we need to not be so packed? Or do we need to expect that Anglos are going to elect Anglo Democrats? And guess what? Of the 12 people that got elected on November 6th, do y'all know how many of them were Anglo Democrats? 10.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
10. So we went from 4 to 14. Texas is changing. And it's changing really quickly because finally, the hard conversations are happening in neighborhood association meetings. The hard conversations are happening in the front yard. And people aren't afraid to put a Bethel sign in the front yard. Finally. And that's what the new Democratic Party is. It isn't a party of people of color. No, it isn't. It's been the home for people of color, because of the policies that we believe in. But it is not the party for people of color, and that's what the Republican Party made. One of my good friends, I won't say his name, I've been playing golf with this guy, and maybe I've heard him say this before. He lives in this area up here. We were playing golf in Grand Prairie, and I forgot the restaurant where I went and spoke at. Somebody came up to me on a golf course that had seen me at the Northeast Tarrant County Democrats meeting and said, "Ramon, you did a great job the other day at our meeting. Thank you for doing that." And I said, "Thank you." And I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was. And then, I'll say his name. His name is Brian. Brian says, "Ramon, who's that?" And I said, "Oh, just, the guy that heard me speak the other day." And he says, "At what?" And I said, "At a Northeast Tarrant County Democrats meeting." And he says, "There's no such thing as a white Democrat." Me and Brian aren't friends anymore. We don't play much golf together anymore. And it's tough for me to talk about some of these things. A lot of folks don't want to have this conversation. A lot of folks don't want to talk about how Democrats have done things wrong in the past. A lot of folks don't want to talk about how they'll go lie down over there with Charlie Guerin, do whatever the things they need to do in order to protect themselves. And they do that. And they'll do it again. We have a changing body. And I'll tell you, these new Democrats got elected right now, they're not scared. They are not scared. I heard somebody say, "I don't give a." That's all fill in the blank. No. This was at a caucus meeting. I was like, wow, you know how to make yourself right at home. It's been an incredible 2 weeks, y'all. It really has been an incredible 2 weeks. And I have to thank y'all so much for all the hard work and all the boots that you put on the ground, Nancy. Thank you for all that hard work. And everybody that ran for office, everybody that canvassed and worked for Beverly Powell. People kept calling me big time lobbyists, like, "Man, Ramon, I don't want to make a mistake. I want to send this lady some money, but I'm afraid because Connie will make me pay. What do you think about this Beverly? What do you think about Beverly Powell?" And I said, "She's your next senator. What are you talking about?" I said, "You better send her the check. Send it now. Double it." And they did. And I looked like a kingmaker. I didn't do much of anything. I just told everybody where to send their money. I mean, was there anybody that seriously thought that Connie wasn't going to get beat? Besides Connie, that is. Sticky. We're going to get to work. The Senate's going to announce their committee assignments probably, I don't know if they came out today, they might come out tomorrow. We filled out our committee cards and turned them in on Tuesday. I asked for State Affairs and Ways and Means, and I asked for all the best committees. I never get them, might as well ask for the best. But we're going to get to work really fast. We'll probably start hearing bills within a month. So for those of you guys that watch bills, that have certain priorities that you look out for, please come down and speak on those things that you're passionate about. I've got about a dozen bills I think that I've already filed. Everything from driver's license for undocumented people to increasing the penalty for those folks, thank you, for increasing the penalty for those folks that think that they can beat on their husband or wife in front of their kids. I also have a bill that I'm working on to create a penalty for those people that think it's still okay for you to run with your dog in the back of your pickup truck. Yeah, I'm filing it. Don't get mad. I get a lot of people mad at me in Austin. Don't get mad at me here. I'm really passionate about farm worker housing. My dad came here as a bracero in 1961, so he went through that whole ugly process of being sprayed down by DDT down in California, lived in those ugly houses, and believe it or not, today TDHCA has never issued a single penalty for any farm worker housing. I had a meeting yesterday. I didn't attend the meeting, my staff did, in which General Counsel said, well, hey, if they want a job, shouldn't they be willing to sleep wherever it takes? Even though a lot of these farms advertise, come on up, help us pick our crops, there's housing here for you. In some cases, that housing consists of a metal container with no windows. So I'm really passionate about that. We're working on that. We're also working on wage theft. Texas is one of the worst places when it comes to wage theft. A lot of folks work and they don't get paid. And because a lot of those folks are undocumented, there isn't a place for them to complain. So Workforce Commission should have to find those folks as well. I've got some other legislation. If anybody's interested in it, I'll be more than glad to go over an agenda at a later time. But we'll probably be somewhere around 30 bills. I try not to file too many. Last year we filed 21 and we passed 7. So 33%, that was pretty good. I'm not going to go over that agenda. I'm excited to continue to serve District 90. I will say that I looked at Beverly Powell's Senate seat real seriously, but I was already real serious about my wife now, Mary Lou Romero, so we were getting married. I chose to get married instead of running for a Senate seat.
Good choice.
Very good choice. I want to thank Dennis for telling my story earlier. I was a high school dad. I had 3 kids in high school.
Wow.
And I dropped out of college. I dropped out of TCC. And when I ran for office, I just told folks, I'm in a low-income community. This District 90 is one of the poorest places in Texas, believe it or not. So, it's only got a 30% high school diploma. 30% of the people there have a high school diploma. 40,000 of those residents live on an average of about $13,000 a year. Yeah, I paid $14,000 for my son to go to Nolan. So there's tremendous poverty. People just don't realize how poor it is in so many places. So when people talk about why I ran for office, I know what it feels like to be poor. My parents sent me to public school in 6th grade after going 2 years to private school, at which we went there for free. So my mom's kids were the ones that were actually cleaning up and refilling the teacher's lounge, and I had the responsibility of refilling the teacher's lounge, all the Coke machines, and cleaning up their lounge. When I went to 6th grade, I was still wearing my uniforms. And those kids were real easy to make fun of me because I was still wearing blue and white. And I know how bad that felt. If there's anything that moves me, it's poverty. I don't know how many, a lot of folks say I was real poor. Our house wasn't leaking. We had food, so I don't know what it's like to be poor and hungry, but I know what it's like to be made fun of because we're poor. And, I moved out at 16 because I had a machista dad. And that's a struggle today for a lot of Hispanic families, and that's a struggle for school teachers.
Yeah, it is.
It's a struggle for school teachers that are out there trying to teach these kids that are trying to learn English instead of trying to learn math and English.
Right.
And that's why this education formula funding is so important. It's not going to be so simple as just giving teachers more money. You have to dive deep, and you have to go in and talk to the administrators, the teachers, the students, and understand who we're teaching. And right now, 50% of the kids in our public education are Latino kids, and a large portion of those are English language learners. They're hard to teach. And, well, they're not hard to teach, they're wonderful. They're opportunities, they're not just a challenge, it's not a problem. And we're going to have a lot of work ahead of us, so we could really use our help for y'all coming down and voicing your opinion, especially those of you that are either teachers or retired teachers. We really need to hear your voices now. So thank y'all for letting me be here today. It's been fun. Thank y'all for laughing with me.